MTGC Requiem here. We're back with match 4. Grixis Reanimator had a bizarre match 3 where the opponent got disconnected and couldn't get back on in time to make his initial mulligan decision, and so lost the match. So looking at this hand, this is actually kind of okay. I really don't like the double Forbidden Orchard though. I feel like if one of these Forbidden Orchards were a different land, I would probably keep this. Because I like the Peer Through the Depths, being able to find the other half of this combo. But I think as it is, this is it feels like a mulligan, even though we're on the draw. We just can't be giving our opponent lots of little creatures. I think we're going to keep this. I mean, we can mulligan to 5 to try and draw into something a little bit better, but you know, when we're already mulliganing and being on 4 lands is pretty decent. We obviously don't want a second Emrakul. Oh man, we got paired up against the Merfolk guy again. Oh, this is great. Well, oh, that's a bummer. So the opponent's holding Aether Vial on 1, which is a decent indicator. That our opponent is going to be flashing in a Curse Catcher. Yep. So he was probably hoping to catch whatever spell we were going for. So here comes the click. I mean, I would assume he's gonna, if he takes anything, take the breaking. It's possible he takes the Emrakul. Goro's Vengeance pairs with either of those. I guess it comes down to what he's more worried about. Is he more worried about us Faithless Looting, drawing one of our 6 or so loot effects? Or is he more worried about us? I mean, he's got us on essentially a, right now, a 4-turn clock, but I would imagine, oh my gosh. So he just set us up for the win. So he took the breaking and entering, which is fine. I mean, that's expected. But 3, 4. Is it possible? So we can't go for it this turn. But next turn we can Faithless Looting away the Emrakul and Goryo's Vengeance. We can't do it this turn because of the Curse Catcher. Well, so our opponent draws the second Curse Catcher, which that's probably just going to lock us out of this game. 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's 2-turn clock. Even if we hit Emrakul down here, he's pretty much got us. So I guess the only way we're getting through this is if we Faithless Looting a Simian Spirit Guide. So if we were to get a Simian Spirit Guide, if he lets this Faithless Looting resolve, and we have to pay for it either way because it's our only out. But if we Faithless Looting into a Simian Spirit Guide, we still will be able to do what we need to do. So he's just going to throw out another creature, another Vendilion Click. So unfortunately for him, we're good either way. If he makes us discard one of these creatures, probably Emrakul, we're going to get another draw, which just increases our odds of hitting a Simian Spirit Guide. Well, looky looky. So now the question becomes, what do we pitch? So I think what we're going for is I'm going to pitch this. I think we're going to pitch the second Goryo's Vengeance. So if our opponent sacks both Curse Catchers, he's still got 5 power on board. I don't think we even have. Ooh. We actually will be able to gain the life. Okay, so we would be able to draw 7, which means we could set up another Goryo's Vengeance. But if we draw 7, we also possibly can just Breaking Entering, which is going to be better. I think we actually just pitch one of the Goryo's Vengeances here. Oh my god. So I wanted to keep the Goryo's Vengeance and pitch the Grizzlebrand. So we actually could have won this game, potentially. If we had pitched the Grizzlebrand, we would have Goryo's Vengeanced it. Presumably our opponent sacks both Curse Catchers to counter it, which we pay for the last one with Simian Spirit Guide. Grizzlebrand attacks, gains us life. Because he has one card in hand, even if he puts a Lord down, the Lord is only going to allow him to do 6 damage to us. Because we would have drawn our 7 cards. So we'd be down to 1. But we would have had a hand that's probably set up to win the game. I'm very disappointed in this. That was a huge mistake. So we would have been able the next turn, having held the Goryo's Vengeance, to presumably, and again, if our opponent were to play double Lord, that's a different situation. So maybe he vials in a Mara Regery and, well, no, I guess he had the Mutavault, so I guess we wouldn't have been able to take that full line, now that I think about it, because we'd have had 4 or 7 damage. So we'd probably lose either way. But point being is, with the 7 we would have drawn Is It Charm. We could have Is It Charmed with our second Goryo's Vengeance to reanimate an Emrakul. Oh, frickin' bummer. I am just ticked off at that. So I'm going to sideboard a little different in this one. Now that he knows what we're bringing, I'm going to bring in some Thought Seizes. I'm going to actually pull a Faithless Looting and a Simian Spirit Guide. I really like Collective Brutality. We're going to pull the Peer Through the Depths. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We definitely want to bring in a Breach. They're too fast to bring in a Quicksilver Amulet. We'll pull a Goryo's Vengeance for that. Kind of want to bring in these Fatal Pushes as well, and I'm just trying to think what we could do. It's possible we could pull Ulamog. He's probably putting out too much too fast. And a Serum Visions. Yeah. So we're going to rely a little more on having a naturally good draw in this game. So this is actually decent. We're going to hold the Spire Bluff Canal till later. We're just looking to draw into something we can do with Grizzlebrand, but we do have the 5 mana needed to cast a Through the Breach if we were to draw one. So we'll keep this. Turn 1 Relic. There's the Through the Breach. So we could actually Faithless Looting away at Grizzlebrand right now, trying to dig towards an Emrakul, but I think we're in no rush. I almost would rather just give ourselves a couple more draw steps. We don't have to go for this turn 3. Plus, if we end up through the breaching Grizzlebrand, we're going to want to draw 7, and if we overuse our Simian Spirit Guides, we're going to set ourselves into a position where we might want to use them with the follow-up. Okay, so I actually like where we are right now. I'm just going to hold on to Izzet Charm and handle whatever he does on his turn. Of course, if he were to play a Vendilion Click right now, that would be problematic. So we're just going to go ahead and kill this guy. We don't actually have enough mana to play through the breach through a Spell Pierce, so we're not going to. Hopefully we can maybe bait the full-on crack. We just need to get him to kind of fully tap out. Alright, so Collective Brutality is nice here because we can actually take a peek at it, at what is in his hand, or what our opponent's hand is, and know what to play around. So we're going to take one of the dispels. Fortunately, we cannot Fatal Push the Click. We could throw a Simian Spirit Guide down so that the Unified Will is somewhat negated, but he's bound to draw more creatures than us. So I would anticipate we're going to get... Nope, okay. So we definitely don't need Karizev. So we're in a good spot now. If he Vendilion clicks away or through the breach, we have another one. He's just going to draw us right into the next one. The concern comes if he is able to Aether Vial in. Alright, so do we have a black? Yes, we can still go get a Watery Grave. Let's think this through. So presumably this will get dispelled. Lord. And then I would assume on our upkeep he is probably going to click us. Wow, we drew another one. So on the positive side, if we try to Fatal Push his Lord of Atlantis and he counters it, that just opens up the door for Through the Breach. So the problem is if we threw the breach, oh god, if we threw the breach, all right, so if we Fatal Push his Lord, in response he Unified Wills, at which point we threw the breach, he Vendilion clicks and takes away our Grizzlebrand. I actually think we just need to Faithless Looting here. But if we let him draw a second land, he has 2 Unified Wills, which is just absolutely brutal. So I think... Excellent. I'm going to play the Simian Spirit Guide. Now his Unified Will is dead. He's going to end step a click. He's going to take away my Grizzlebrand. He's going to play a creature on his turn, turning his Unified Wills back on. But then he won't be able to cast it. No, he's going to play cast. Oh my gosh. Merfolk is such a pain in the tookish. Jeez. So we don't need another one of those. Fatal Push is fine. It helps us kill the click. So we'll put that on top, I guess. We're going to Faithless Looting. There we go. So we don't need the Thoughtseize, I don't think. We can keep one Through the Breach. Kill the Vendilion click. So presumably he'll sacrifice the Curse Catcher because Curse Catcher is not as good next turn. No, he uses a Unified Will. Okay, so now we are essentially dead to a Unified Will. The next turn, we aren't blocking here, so we might as well attack. Possibly get him into Emrakul range. I don't know, maybe that's not the right line there. We're in real trouble. Maybe I should have just run it out sooner. So it looks like we're getting an end-step Master of Waves here. He wouldn't have gone to 4 if he didn't have one in hand. Oh, guess not. Assuming this gets unified. So, yeah. I'm assuming he's going to sack everything except for the Vendilion Click. And if so, we will then be able to actually enter in Grizzlebrand. And that should actually close the game out. Wow. Wow. That was a cool one. Wish I hadn't blown the other game. Not that I would have won it anyway, but still. So what did we mulligan here? Choose by first. We kept all 7. Whew. Alright, so we're going to be on the draw this game. I think we're going to be a little more aggressive with trying to get in on the a little less about the pushes. Maybe I did this backwards. Maybe on the play we should have been running Thoughtseize and Spell Pierce. Let's see, Collective Brutality. I actually think we're gonna... Yeah, no, we still like that. It gets Master of Waves, it's good. I don't like having all these Goryo's Vengeances in with so few looting effects. I think we're just going to play towards the combo here. Bring in the Faithless Looting. Yeah, we're just going to try and go for it early. He's going to get creatures down ahead of us and start to put pressure on us. So our plan is hopefully to just set up a turn where we can go for it and hold up a counter spell. It's probably a bad idea with Curse Catcher, but I don't have enough experience to tell me that I'm wrong yet. So this is fine. We're going to need another red source for Karizev. Fortunately, Karizev's not going to be as great now, but we still have the Through the Breach. So we get the turn 1 relic. Here comes an Adept. We see a Marrow Regery. So if we draw, okay, I was gonna say if we draw a Simian Spirit Guide right here, we can go for it. As it is right now, without any blue mana, we are in a pinch. Really could go for a red-blue land right here. Boom. So one of the things we can do is we can attempt to force our opponent to crack their relic by just going for it. The negative of that is that we then no longer have those to help us do what we need to do in the later turn. Oh my gosh, actually no. I apologize. So relic actually can't be cracked in response to the breaking and entering. I mean, it can in response, but once this goes on the stack, he can't snap it in between. So really we just need to be able to make sure we can get this through. So if we draw another blue land, we can play this with Spell Piercer to spell backup, and we're actually okay. So we actually just need any upright land right now. Boom. And we're hoping Hidden Emrakul. He cannot crack the relic in response because this whole spell resolves at once. And that should be game. So the trigger still goes on the stack, but it doesn't happen until after Emrakul's been gotten. Hoo, 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 hoo. So he's going to draw a card. He will get to keep his Silvergill Adept, but we get to keep our Emrakul. Wow. So we got one. Kind of a bit of a struggle. I think I'm so used to when I play with these decks, historically, to be scared of or needing to force the relic, but I gotta remember that the Carry Zev breaking entering combo just bypasses the relic, which is so busted. Um, I mean, honestly, it shouldn't exist. I think it's broken. I don't think that any card specifically should be banned, but I do think that they need to take the breaking and entering um, functionality that allows you to fuse it for free, and they need to remove that. I mean, that should not be a part of, I guess, of the format. It's too busted. Anyway, that puts us at 3-1, 5-4 in the league. We'll be back with the fifth match soon.